Hey, I'm Alex Rack from Board Game Co. And this is going to be an unboxing of Wild Assent. And if that name sounds familiar to you, it's because I've been talking about it a lot, or because you've backed it, or because I'm excited about it. But it is a game that has been, well, I've been waiting for quite some time, honestly, because Wild Assent is going to be one of the first games that I backed. One of the first games that I backed when I got into my whole Kickstarter madness situation, and that's going to be because this one is going on 2 years old at this point. It is a game that I'm excited about. It's going to be a boss battler, skirmish-based experience, both with a head-to-head mode, as well as a hunt mode, where you capture creatures, go through a 10-campaign journey, you're leveling up your encampment, increasing your buildings, getting all kinds of stuff, while you get gear, equipment, workers, all those kinds of things, and then keep hunting, and fight, and skirmish, and use abilities, and characters, and stuff, and all those things, and let's get to it. So, this is, like I said already, this is going to be an unboxing. I am filming this probably a good week before it goes up, which means once I'm done unboxing it, it's going straight to the table so I can start playing it to get a review out as soon as possible. But hopefully, I want to get like at least a few missions into the campaign before I do the review. I don't know if I'll be doing the head-to-head skirmish mode. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But we'll see how this goes. I want to get some content out of this game. I want to play this game. I have been excited about this game for a long time. So we have 3 rulebooks. We have the Hunt, the Arena, and the Campaign book. The Campaign book is going to give you the individual scenarios with a little bit more flavor text or story. If I recall correctly, it's been a long time. If I recall correctly, there are 2 ways to go through the campaign. There's just kind of a procedurally generated 10-mission campaign, which is not really procedurally generated, just kind of, go through 10 missions with basic rules around it. Then there's going to be the Arena rulebook, which has the rules around head-to-head combat. That's going to give you, 2 players taking their characters, going head-to-head against each other, switching up the boards and the way they're presented, if I recall correctly. Lots of things in this game are going to be, if I recall correctly. But then, there's going to be the main mode that I am currently interested in, which is going to be the Hunt. The Hunt is going to be a rulebook over here, which looks like it starts on page 5. Nope, it starts on page 6 in terms of the actual content, the game overview, and then it's going to take us down. Lots of text. It is text heavy, although there are pictures, so it's not the worst. Like half this page is pictures. So it's a mix in terms of how bad it is in terms of text versus pictures, but it's going to take us all the way, it looks like, to page 22. This last page is mostly keywords, which means we have page 6 to 22, or 16 pages of rules to go through. Not the worst, not the best, but I can certainly manage that. And I know the general overview of the game, so it's not going to be that hard. It's, you go out, you fight creatures, every single one of your heroes has a movement and attack and different abilities that will level up as you increase the buildings in your encampment, and then you're going to take and sell those creatures to get more money so you get more workers, more items, increasing your encampment, rinse and repeat, following lots of basic skirmish rules. I don't remember everything. I'll have to go through the rulebook. We'll see how that plays out. And here we have the miniatures. So, let's go through this. This is going to be a whole bunch of miniature stuff. You know what? Let's save the miniatures for after. Let's put these off to the side, and we'll go through all the miniatures after we go through everything else. Let's try to get everything else out of the way first. We'll do miniatures last. So, here we have the board, the double-sided board. And this, by the way, I haven't mentioned this yet, but this is the first unboxing that I'm doing with my new setup of 2 cameras, one in front and one up there. Up there, which, depending on which camera is currently pointing, I have no clue how this is going, so bear with me as I do these new kinds of setups. This is going to be the Skirmish Arena board. So this is the side you're using when you're playing against each other. And then we have the board for the actual Wilds. Now, speaking for myself, I was never actually pulled in by the art on this board. It's certainly functional, and it does more for me than Kingdom Death Monster does. No diss against Kingdom Death Monster, just I don't really care about a pure hex system. This is going to give you various terrain that will go on the board, so you're going to have different figures or different pieces, both in token form, as well as if you have the extras, which I certainly do, you will have actual miniatures for thorns, for trees, for different things that you can mess around with. So, not overly into the art of the board, but it is certainly functional. We're going to have the encampment board over here. I'm assuming this is the encampment board. Yes, this is the encampment board. This is going to be the board where you're going to have your room for your various workers. You have room for 3 workers initially, but you can add those up as you level up your barracks or whatnot, so you can increase the number of workers you have available. Here are going to be your buildings, where you can put 1, 2s, and 3s to show the level of your buildings, and then the rest of it's just, you can put whatever, wherever. This is going to be Heal a Seeker for 2 health per action, maximum occupancy 2, 3, or 4 Seekers. So yeah, we're going to have a bunch of these buildings which you can level up throughout the course of your campaign. And then we have the token boards. So let's go through the token boards. Now this is one where I know that Lazy Squire Games, well, let me rephrase that. I know Lazy Squire Games went through a bunch of manufacturing processes or stuff. I am assuming that Lazy Squire Games lost money on this because they had a lot of issues with the quality of various things, from the cards to the tokens to different stuff in this game. So these final things, the final production quality, we're gonna have to, well, we'll comment on it as we go through. So let's punch out one of these. This is, you know, a decent token. It's, I mean, you're just seeing a token here. It's nothing really to see, but it is a nice quality token. No, really, doesn't bend easily. It's not flimsy. It's not whatever. And I know for myself that was always a concern, because if I recall correctly, and things may have changed, I don't know everything, but they used Arkane Studios for the miniatures, because the Arkane Studios does do incredibly highly produced miniatures. Let's just show you this board over here in case you wanted to see it. But yeah, so Arkane does incredibly highly produced miniatures, but historically speaking, they have had a very, very bad track record in terms of delivering component quality for, you know, they usually have flimsy cards, like the flimsiest of the flimsy. So we have a Streamcaller over here. That's going to be the Streamcaller. It's going to be one of the miniatures that you're going to be dealing with, one of the enemies, so to speak. And we have their little lore on the back. Ooh, let's do a shout out for Quackalope. Streamcaller, lurking in the darkest. Let's do this. Lurking in the darkest recesses of the Divide, or along the northern coast of the wilds, Streamcallers hunt with cruel efficiency, waiting for the perfect moment to drag their prey into the depths below. A horrifying fusion of humanoid and tentacles, Streamcallers are aquatic nightmares that keep all but the bravest or foolish of seekers awake in the night. Streamcallers are always followed closely by their waterbound, a perilous threat even in the sand-covered arenas of the Silvestrem. So, that's going to be this Punchboard over here with various enemies. Now, some of these enemies, actually, I'm not sure exactly how this board plays out. It looks like we have both heroes and enemies here, because the heroes, let's punch out a hero board. The heroes are going to have this board over here where you have their movement. Now, you have that's going to be their movement, their health, their defense. That's how much damage you mitigate. So the Garantiv is going to mitigate 2 damage every time you attack. And then this is their magical defense. So physical defense and magical defense. Then you're going to have their range. I think it's their range, their attack type. I'm not sure what that one is. Your attack type, how many dice you roll. Every time you attack, you're going to do damage no matter what, but you'll do more damage depending on what dice you roll. So let's go ahead and actually grab a few of those from off to the side here. And you can see over here, if we roll them, so that would be 1 damage plus a special, and a miss. That's how the dice are going to play out over there. So going back to Gurnev, we have his default skills, which are always in play, followed by his special skills, which are unlockable depending on what... Wait, that looks like it's an arena mode. Wait, no, what's going on here? This looks slightly different. This might be an enemy. Garantiv looks like an enemy, so we'll have to ignore Garantiv because there's a slightly different format for the heroes. So that's an enemy character with a layout similar to... what's it called? Let's go ahead and show you this board over here. This board over here, it looks like it's also enemies up there. So that's going to be some more enemies with any more flipping things. Again, more flavor text. Loads of goodness over here. And again, the Punchboard quality is pretty good, all things considered. I mean, it doesn't seem to elicit it. And I'll grab, let me see what we have here. Do we have... 1 second. There's gotta be... I'm trying to figure out how this works. Here we go. Okay, sorry, I was trying to find out the way this works. So, if you look over here, you'll see we have Zaxos, and you'll see each building has a number of pips underneath it, showing you basically which level of the buildings you need. So for the route, we would need the level 1, whatever that is, and the level 2, whatever that is. I don't know the names from the symbols alone, but you'd need different levels. And then you'll unlock these different abilities, of which there are different types. There's going to be reaction abilities that are purely defensive. There's going to be abilities, and again, the Punchboard. I mean, this is a pretty solid board, all things considered. It has been to it, but nothing crazy. And we are going to put that back. So yeah, you're going to have different abilities. You'll have activated abilities, you'll have passive abilities, defensive abilities, reactive abilities, although defensive may just be reactive. And then we have this board over here as well. So we got this, okay. And then we're going to go ahead, I'm just putting these back in the box as I go through them. I'll eventually punch everything out. A whole bunch of tokens as well. These are the scenery on the side that there are going to be other token options for. And then over here, these are, I believe, targeting, or... I can't remember what they are. There's something to do with taunting, perhaps. Taunting might be the issue. They go around the base of the various characters, so you can kind of see who's being taunted or whatnot. And that's going to be that. And again, we're going to save the miniatures off to the side for the very end. We're going to go through absolutely everything else first. and then perhaps we'll rebox things. So it's going to be a little bit of a mess on this table, which is okay. Nothing wrong with a little bit of a mess. So this is going to go out here, and it looks like we have a rulebook. So we got a rulebook situation going on over here. This is going to be the prologue campaign. So it gives you more campaign if you're looking for more of that guided campaign with specific narrative and specific changes and more structure towards a story-driven approach. This will give you that. Oh, hey, look at this. Look at this. Looks like we're using the arena mode, the arena map. Now, my understanding from the default campaign, I could be wrong, the default campaign will only ever use the Silvestrem map. But it looks like the arena map might be used in the drafted campaign, in the scripted campaign. It looks like it's being used a bunch, actually, now that I'm seeing this here. A lot more. Wow. So we'll see how that actually plays out. I am intrigued. I don't know if it has any gameplay differences. I haven't read through this. So again, most of what I'm doing here is from memory, which means it is inherently flawed. Then we have a whole bunch of miniatures, which means again, we'll save this for round 2 of this unboxing. So we're doing this in 2 phases, components and things first, followed by miniatures after. And now we have the Wild Assent something box. Now I remember, I think the first and second boxes I just did, I believe were going to be the base pledge, and then this box I believe was the optional add-on. Doesn't have a name on it, but if I'm not mistaken, let me see. Does this? No, actually, I might be wrong. I might be wrong. I'm not sure which box is which, so ignore me. I think maybe the second box that I just unlocked, that would be the optional add-on, it seems. Maybe. I don't actually know. Let's go through it anyway. So, it looks like we're down to just, we have cards. I sadly forgot to bring my knife to the table, so I don't know. Let me see if I can take this off without needing a knife, because they don't have those pulls that you used to. So, it looks like we've got some cards unlocked. We haven't gone through any cards yet, which is why I'm just going to go ahead and go through some cards. So, we have these cards. These are going to be some of the, it looks like these are the enemies. So we can see over here we have, let me just take a look here. So, over here we're going to have, the first row is going to be who the enemy targets. Enemies are going to have their own attack deck that you're going to be referencing whenever you pull them out their initiative, whatever. So we have their most targeted. Sorry, I'm trying to get that angle right because I'm holding this up at a weird place. So that's going to be who it targets, how much it moves, followed by the attack it does. And you're going to be, whenever you have creatures, you're going to shuffle all their cards together, and then you're going to draw their cards randomly, and that's going to be the enemy who activates and how they activate. So protecting your weaker heroes are going to be a key part of the game, but depending on who you're facing off against, you may not have that option. And then we have some abilities, some items that you can craft. Now, the workers in this game are going to give you the option of crafting different items. So many of the workers you get will give you unique recipes for crafting things. The art here is pretty good. I do like the art here, which is interesting because I remember for Stormsunder, also by Lazy Squire Games, I like here's going to be some workers, we have the speaker, we have the bard. The bard gives you access to this loot over here. So you can see over here, the bard lets you craft that loot. And we have the huntsman. The art here is gorgeous. We have the engineer, the porter, the sentry. This is all from the stretch goal box. And we have the Sea of Flowers. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, this is going to be the hunt deck. So at the end of every, I think it's called the hunt deck. It might be called something else. But at the end of every encampment phase, you want to make sure that you scout to figure out where you're going hunting next. And that is going to be the board, the cards, the this, the that. And let's go through some miniatures. So I'm not going to go through everything here because there is a lot here. But let's start with probably my daughter's favorite, which is going to be this unicorn over here. So if we take a look at the unicorn, wait 1 second, let's go hold like that. That is going to be the unicorn. Yeah, there we go. And this is going to be, I believe this was there if you backed within the first 3 days stretch goal. That's going to be what this is. Yeah, and if you find me holding or twisting my arm differently than I should, it's because in the past when I've done unboxings, my camera is at an angle, so I keep holding up my hands instinctively as if I'm doing it at an angle when I am actually not. This is going to be some sort of, fairy-ish kind of thing. Again, the miniature quality, the miniature sculpt in this is absolutely insane. I mean, this is one of the things that pulled me in initially, although I absolutely should not be pulled in by this stuff. But the miniature sculpt off from day one was always incredible. They were using Arkane Studios, which, like I said, Arkane Studios does have Arkane Studios does have a name for doing incredible miniature sculpt. This is going to be a manticore-ish kind of creature. But yeah, Arkane's miniature sculpt is going to be incredible, but the rest of the stuff was, always in question. Okay? And again, I will get better at figuring out where and how to hold my hands. Let me see what we got here. We got anything particularly interesting here? We got some heroes, some things. I'm trying to find some of the cooler sculpts. I don't know, this may or may not be cooler. Yeah, so Lazy Squire games in general, I mean, they have some Stormsunder sculpts as well. Perhaps I'll run and get... there we go. See, I need to get used to how to hold this so that it focuses, so that it gives you... and stop pivoting so I get off screen. I'm constantly moving my hands on or off screen. I'm going to have to figure out how to do this and get better at that system. And let's go through maybe one more from this box. Maybe this little guy, or this guy. Let's go through this guy. So, yeah. Lazy Squire Games in general has some incredible sculpts from their games, both their games Stormsunder and from Wild Assent. The detail in them is incredible to the point that it's intimidating. It's frankly intimidating for anyone who is looking for their game. Now let's see, I got the rulebook. No, I don't need a rulebook for this. This is going to be this box, all covered up. And we will move back to box number 2. Or let's move back to the base game box first, because I want to save that cool dragon for last to give you a reason to keep paying attention. So, we're going to have this over here. And let's start grabbing some stuff. So, let's see, we got this thing over here. This is going to be their main Phoenix thing. They very heavily feature this, both in terms of their packages they sent out to other reviewers or whatnot. This is going to be that thing. It's a cool Phoenix. Mostly my finger is in play, but again, I will have to work on that. Okay, it should focus in a second, hopefully. Nope, there we go. Yeah. Look at the skulls. Look at the skulls on the side there. The quality there is absolutely insane. Yeah, these things are really solidly done. I do not envy anyone who's trying to paint these, because it will be a lot of work in order to paint these decently. Let's focus a bit if we can. I think this sculpt is too narrow. Perhaps if we take this away. Oh, look at that. That works. Yeah. Okay. That's going to be that character. Let's grab a few more. There we go. These are some of the heroes. So one thing I don't like is seemingly the heroes and the monsters seemingly are going to both be the same color. And there's no basis to distinguish it. Now, it shouldn't be the hardest thing to figure out who the hero is and who the monster is when you're actually playing the game. That being said, I don't love it. Here's going to be that stream crawler we talked about earlier. That flavor text from that stream crawler is going to be over here. Okay. Yeah. What I need a target zone where I can hold my hand and have the correct miniature at the right zone. Let's do one more from this box. Let's do another hero. It's going to be another hero. Yep. And again, the sculpt quality is absolutely insane. You've seen this from the Stormsunder sculpts or whatnot. What I may do in a second is I may go ahead and... Let me go ahead. You know, I'll save it for last. At the end of this video, what I'll do is I will go ahead and grab some of the Stormsunder sculpts that I featured in the video I did, Are Minis Necessary? So I did a video recently called Are Minis Necessary? Where I mean, the answer is yes, obviously. But I went through the various miniatures that I've gotten from both games I own as well as other games. Do I want to leave this rulebook out? No, I'm not going to leave it out right now. I'll cover it later. We'll figure it out. Like I said, I do plan on getting this to the table as soon as I'm done with this unboxing. So let's go ahead and move this off to the side over here, which brings us one box left. This box is going to be over here, which is going to give you some fun sculpts. Now, I'm not a fan of the foam tops in games. Generally not. I don't like it as much. It's functional, it does the job, but pulling miniatures in or out is less fun for me. Although we do have some cool miniatures here, so let's go ahead and show you some of these. This is going to be that guy over there. Yeah, look at him. Look at those hoofs. Yeah. That's what we go over there, and beautiful. Okay, so let's grab another one from this box. Ooh, I do like that sniper person. So this is going to be a sniper. It's not focusing this time. Why is it not focusing? There we go. Yep. That is going to be the sniper person, who I enjoy. I mean, I just like anyone with a gun in these games. But yeah, that is going to be this box over here to a degree. But let's go ahead and grab one or two of these from this box. So first of all, let's go ahead and grab some terrain. So we have this terrain over here, which is going to be, this is going to replace a tree. We're going to have a bunch of these pieces in general. Yeah, and that's just going to replace a tree going on the map wherever you want. There's spiky terrain, there's different kinds of spikes. They're all going to do whatever they need to do. There's chests, there's axes on the floor, all kinds of different stuff over there. Let's go ahead and grab this out for last. And let's go ahead and utilize that last. Like I said, we're not going to do every single miniature. Let's do this guy last because he is kind of cool. This is going to be the large dragon. That is going to be the large three-headed or two-headed dragon. Let's not give it an extra head if we don't need to. This is going to be the two-headed dragon from the core set. Or from the core pledge. I think it's from the core pledge. It may have been from the expansion. I don't recall offhand what was in what. But this is going to be the Wild Assent, over the top, ridiculously cool dragon with the level of detail. And the bases, we haven't even focused on this, but like, if you look at those bases, they all have an insane level of detail. And that's going to be that. I'll go ahead and box this up, and then I will go ahead and grab some of the miniatures from the Stormsunder campaign that I got sent for, you know, just to review, to look at, not to review, just to look at and show to you, basically. So let's go ahead and grab some of those. I may or may not cut some of this. This is not fitting in nicely. I don't like that. There we go. Okay. And in general, by the way, these trays, I'm not usually a fan of these kinds of trays. They're usually like a half-baked approach of, here's a bunch of stuff for your tokens. I don't know how well these are or are not thought out until I actually go through it. And let me go ahead and get some miniatures. Okay, so we got some of these miniatures over here. And let's see, let's go ahead and grab some of these. These are some of the Stormsunder miniatures that were sent to look at and go over. So we got some of these over there. That ought to do it. So we're going to go ahead and let's look at the coolest one first. These are all from Stormsunder, not from Wild Assent. So if you popped over here, there'll be a timestamp saying Stormsunder miniatures, so you can look through those. I mean, these are cool. And Stormsunder, one of the things about Stormsunder that I particularly enjoy is the variety of sculpts. I mean, they have a ton. Like some of the pirates, like the pirate monkey they have. Loving the sheer variety they have. This can be a vampire. So we just saw like an Egyptian sculpt, and now we're looking at, or as soon as it focuses, we're looking at a vampire. Come on, camera, focus, focus. Nope, not. There we go. It won't want to focus. Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. That's going to be a vampire that you're going to be dealing with in the game. There's all this narrative around different vampire type sculpts. Don't know much about it until I actually play. But overall, the detail on these is still insane. Like I showed you a while ago, some of like that angel character I got. Then we have one of the heroes. This is going to be one of the heroes in the game in Stormsunder. And again, I really am not a fan of the fact that they're all the same color. It's not a big deal if you paint them, but if you're not painting them and you don't have clip-on bases, then I do kind of want the variety or whatnot. It's going to be that one. That's going to be another copy of that one. Why do I have two copies of the same guy? And this is going to be another, but different vampire. That's going to be this one over here. And finally, one more is going to be a priest character. So if you look at the campaign page, this is going to be one of the priests you can... Let's move these out of the way so we can not worry about that. Here we go. Does not want to focus. Still messing around with new camera setups. It does not in any way want to focus on this particular character. There we go. Perfect. Cool. And that's going to be a wrap. That's going to be our Stormsunder characters off to the side, our Wild Assent unboxing, and now let's return to the front camera, where I've been sitting here the whole time, kind of looking at the top. It's going to be very weird for me trying to edit these things. So, that's basically it. This is Wild Assent, all the stuff Wild Assent. I am Alex Ratcliffe, which we do usually at the end of these videos. Wild Assent unboxing, using my words, going through all the various stuff, as well as some Stormsunder stuff. The miniature quality, off the charts. The production quality of the cards, I didn't feel for how thick they were, so I don't know offhand there, but the Punchboard tokens are great. The trays are okay, don't love them, don't hate them. The rulebooks seem, you know, clear, not overly text heavy, but a little bit text heavy. It's very small font, very small print, and some pages do have a lot of text in a row. I like things broken up as much as possible by pictures, by examples, by things that do there. They do have a keyword. I don't think they have an index or anything. They have a keyword list at the back, so they have all that. But overall, I'm relieved, impressed, excited, nervous, all those words. I mean, keep in mind, this is one of those things, like, I've done a bunch of videos on why Wild Assent was a game that I backed, and why I'm still excited about it, and why I believe Lazy Squire Games is not running for the hills with your money. But it's a reasonable question, because they were and are a new publisher in this space, and then they launched a campaign, and then that campaign was 2 years late, or not 2 years late, a year late, roughly a year late, but 2 years since the original Kickstarter. And then they launched another gigantic campaign asking for a $500 pledge for things. There are red flags when it comes to Lazy Squire. Now, I've done videos as to why I was not concerned about those red flags, and why I saw enough positive things, enough reassurances that I wasn't scared. But at the same time, it's nice to finally have this show up. It's still nice to know that all the reasons I gave as to why I wasn't worried and why I did trust them, it's nice to see this box show up, because if I had to have picked from any of my active Kickstarters which one I was the most worried about it being my first failed Kickstarter in terms of just never delivering, Lazy Squire or Wild Assent would have been that Kickstarter. And here it is, on my table. So I'm pretty excited with that, which means now the oldest Kickstarter I'm waiting on will be, what's that one with the C from Grimlord something or other, the C one, Everrain. The Everrain is now going to be my oldest Kickstarter, so now I'm just waiting on that one, and of course when we get that, we'll do an unboxing of that as well. Until next time, I'm Alex Ratcliffe from Board Game Co. Keep your eyes peeled for an eventual review on this, I would imagine within the next 2 to 3 weeks, but I also want to make sure I give this my proper attention, and generally the way I have game time is I can probably knock out a few games on Sunday, maybe 1 or 2 over the weekend, but I want to get a good bunch of games in before I actually do any content around this game. Until next time, have a good one.